Afterglow, Jedd Fisch. We were on site. Now we're back in the home studio. TJ Brassil, our producer. When you were listening to that in real time and then went back and edited it, what popped for you? What do you wish that we may have hit upon that we missed?
I thought it was a great conversation. One thing before I even go to what I wish you hit upon, one thing I want to hear your take on something. It was when he was talking about all the guys that are coming back, that passed up going to the NFL this year and coming back. One, I thought that was really cool. I thought that spoke a lot to the program. But two, one thing that I've always kind of thought about was coaches who come from the NFL to go and become head coaches in college. Like, and so I want to hear your thoughts on this. What kind of impact does that have on the players in maybe coming back and wanting to learn more from them, because they know they've been in those draft rooms, they've been at the combine and stuff like that. They know everything that these players need to do to be there and to maximize their ability. Like, how much does that play into being able to get guys to come back for a year?
It's a great question. So after I did that interview with Jedd, I went and hosted their signing day event that night.
Mm-hmm.
The entire team was there, all the newcomers, mid-year enrollees, and about 700 fans. Well, I got to mingle with the players beforehand, and I ran into Jordan Morgan, Tanner McLaughlin, Jaden DeLaura, Jacob Cowling. I talked to 4 of the 5 guys that he referenced about why they chose to come back. And a few layers to that exist. One was they love being there. And that's the culture that Jedd has created in the collegiate environment. But 2, they all want to play at the next level. And they want to thrive at the next level. And they believe in the system that Jedd Fisch has curated, that it exists for them to do that. So for example, I talked to Tanner. I said, so you're coming back, like what's your excitement level like? And he goes, man, I can't wait. A chance to sit down with Coach Fisch and talk about the next year and what I can work on and what this offense will do and where I can really elevate my game. And like, he's totally leaned into that. And I know Jedd, as you referenced, he's leaned back and said, look, this is how we can take you to another level. I also think it helps when guys like Bill Belichick, Vic Fangio, like NFL coaches, to your point, are walking in the halls of that facility pretty regularly, whether it's on Zoom and it's Sean McVay and Zach Taylor, or Coach Belichick. He was there a couple months ago. You might be back there for their coaches clinic. I know they have that coming up in the spring. So yeah, I think all of that speaks to the NFL experience that the coaching staff has and the relationships they have. And when they say, hey man, like, it'll probably benefit you to come back for a year. Here's why. Here's what I'm hearing. This is what the report said from the NFL in your evaluation. I think the guys really take it to heart. Because oftentimes, we hear like stories about how players get those evaluations and they're still like, well, my agent told me I'm going to be a 2nd-round pick, so I'm out anyway.
Yeah.
And it never works. But we see that happen every year.
Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate that, because that's always something I've wondered about. But question for him, it's not really as much of a question as I wish he almost had elaborated on it more. Because so you kind of led him down the path of asking him about like Arizona, like how much he loves being there. And he was talking about like he loves the community, like his kids are at a great age where like he's in a great spot. He's so happy where he is. And so I was kind of curious, like when he starts on his coaching journey, like does he have, and obviously like it makes sense that an end goal would be a head coach naturally, but does he have an end goal of like, did he want it to be the NFL? Did he want it to be college? Did he have an idea of what area of the country like Arizona, or did he just kind of let that play out and then ended up at a spot that makes him really happy?
Yeah, what's really fun about Jedd, we referenced it at the end of the interview, is that he's a 3-time guest appearance on this podcast platform.
Yep.
And the first time he came on in 2019, I listened to it on my flight out to Tucson. And it was really going through him as a young child being like, I want to coach college football. And his family saying, okay, well, who do you want to go learn from? Almost like, where do you want to go study? And he went, there, Florida, Steve Spurrier. And that's what he did. He left like over 300 notes on Steve Spurrier's car windshield, being like, can I volunteer? Eventually, years later, got that opportunity to volunteer. Now Coach Spurrier is one of his biggest mentors in his life. And I think as the wind has blown with him, whether it was to the expansion Houston Texans, or whether it was to Minnesota as an OC in college, to the Seahawks, to the Broncos, I mean, to the Patriots, to Jacksonville, to Miami, to UCLA. There's a lot of spots. I think he's always had his eye on, I want to be a head coach in college. Every time I've talked to him, he's like, I love college. Like, he loves the vibe of college. Like, this is a guy who walks around, in the Greek community at Arizona, promoting games on the spring game with Gronk, right? This is a guy who, goes to the tennis matches, the softball games. Like, he's taking his family everywhere. You don't have that in the NFL, right? You have your facility, you have your key card, and I'll see you on game day. And in my heart of hearts, I feel as though, from what he's told me over the years, college has always been the dream. And I think that when you look at him in Tucson, and I asked him this, I'm like, it feels as though you've been here for a while. I had a chance to meet Dick Tomei's wife after the event, and it was really cool to talk to her and Dwayne Aquino, who's now on his staff, who is an icon in our league, and of course in Tucson as well. And Jedd just fits, and it feels like he's been there for a while. So I think this is home for him, especially the way they're building it through high school and supplementing through the portal. Players are so happy there. They're kicking off to the NFL. Like, I honestly think they're just getting warmed up there, and I think he'll be there for a while. I
love that. Is there anything that you wish, looking back on it, you're like, I wish we'd have gone into that more, or I wish I'd asked him about this?
Yeah, I would have loved to hear his take on, like, the state of the game. I'm kind of really on that thought, talking to coaches. We'll ask coaches on this podcast as we finish up season 2 here in the spring, and I'll do my spring football tour. It's been fun to hear them say it off the record. I'm excited to hear them, what they say on the record.
Yeah.
Because I think the state of the game, one, we could look at, and Justin Wilcox came on the signing day show. We asked him that on the Pac-12 networks, and he was like, look, it's easy to be negative on it. It's almost welcome to be negative on the state of the game. But can you compete to be relentlessly in pursuit of the positive? And I think Jedd would say the same thing. Like, how can I keep pouring into my guys? I see that throughout the course of our league of, okay, players, while they have more opportunities than ever, they need more resources than ever to even know how to manage those mentally, fiscally, physically, whatever. And I would have been curious with Jedd's experience, especially most recently being with the Patriots and now back into college, like, where he thinks the game is, because he's always talking to different people and different likes around the game, from high school to the professional to the retired. Right? Brian Billick is one of his biggest mentors as well. So anyway, that's probably where I would have went.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like that.
So we'll have to get him on again. We'll go number 4.
Why not?
Jedd Fisch. Yeah. I love it. Cool, man. Thanks for all the work. It was really fun, and big thank you to everyone at Arizona, John Daly and your staff. Like, being able to do this thing on the road in person is really fun. It's really enjoyable for TJ and I to be able to get out there, be around people, interact, and hopefully we continue to do that for our audience. Let us know if you like those better. What do you think? Maybe we'll take this show on the road a little bit more next year. So with that said, hope all is well. Arizona, I know you're extremely optimistic. I know you're excited about this spring game, Teddy and Gronk, round 2. Let's see what shakes out there. Make sure you watch it on the Pac-12 networks as well. Stay safe. Peace.